Greetings, friends and fellow Ohioans. I'm Bob Frantz, host of Strictly Speaking on WHK Radio in Cleveland and of the Strictly Speaking interview podcast on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. I want to take just a few minutes of your time to explain why it is so crucial that we all vote no on issue 1 on November 5th, and that we all do our part to educate and encourage family members and friends and coworkers to do the same. The people behind issue 1 call themselves citizens, not politicians, and they tell a fictitious story of how voting yes on issue 1 will put a ban on gerrymandering in Ohio. This is in all their ads, it's on their yard signs, and it's all over their social media platforms. And in every last one of those locations, the story they are telling is a lie. Ohio's issue 1 does not ban gerrymandering. And in fact, it does more than just allow gerrymandering. Issue 1 actually makes gerrymandering mandatory, and it would be enshrined as such in the Ohio Constitution if it passes. For the purposes of background, in 2015 and in 2018, we, the Ohio voters, passed by overwhelming margins, over 70%, constitutional amendments to ban gerrymandering. This was done so that the communities and towns and counties wouldn't be split up and robbed of their right to choose the representatives that best represented them. Issue 1 would make those constitutional amendments obsolete by doing just the opposite. For proof of this, we only need to look at the actual ballot language that we will all get a chance to read when we vote on November 5th, or early if you're voting at your county board of elections. These are the most relevant lines in the ballot language, which prove the intent of citizens, not politicians. The proposed amendment would repeal constitutional protections against gerrymandering, approved by nearly 3/4 of Ohio electors participating in the statewide elections of 2015 and 2018, and eliminate the long-standing ability of Ohio citizens to hold their representatives accountable for establishing fair state legislative and congressional districts. 2. Establish a new taxpayer-funded commission of appointees required to gerrymander the boundaries of state legislative and congressional districts. State legislative and congressional districts will no longer be required to be compact. Counties, townships, and cities throughout Ohio can be split and divided across multiple districts, and preserving communities of interest will be secondary to the formula that is based on partisan political outcomes. So as you can see, the advertising campaign behind being run by the liars and the cheats with citizens, not politicians, is completely and totally fraudulent. Gerrymandering will be forever enshrined in the Constitution in our state because these left-wing Democrats know it is their only chance of winning and passing their unpopular ideas in a never-ending effort to turn our red state blue, while also reducing our Republican delegation to the United States Congress. For more proof of the far left's big lie about Ohio being a red state because of gerrymandering, we need only look at the 33 Ohio Senate districts. The Ohio Democrat Party has the advantage in 15 of those 33 districts. These are considered lean blue districts. Yet in head-to-head elections for the Ohio Senate, the Republican candidate beat the Democrat candidate in 8 out of those 15 Democrat-leaning districts in 2022. So in other words, if you can't win the majority of the races in your own favored district, gerrymandering is not the issue for you. The issue is you're running bad candidates. By contrast, the Republicans won every Senate race in which the GOP had the advantage, or red-leaning districts. So they went undefeated in the red districts, won more than half of the blue districts, and what about the toss-ups? Well, Republicans won 12 out of the 16 toss-up races. Additionally, in the statewide races, the races where district lines mean absolutely nothing since every Ohio voter from one end of the state to the other gets to vote in these races, all 9 statewide offices were won by Republicans. That can't be because of gerrymandering, now can it? Even the Rhino governor, Mike DeWine, won re-election by 25 points over an even worse Democrat candidate. And Donald Trump won the state of Ohio in back-to-back presidential elections by 8 points in both 2016 and in 2020. So as you can see, Ohio is not red because it's gerrymandered. Ohio is red because its voters do not like radically progressive policies offered up by radically progressive candidates. Ohio is a red state. And the Democrats know it, which is why they invented Issue 1. If they can't win elections fair and square with bad candidates and bad ideas, then they decided to rig the system instead. Now, here's a little more from the official ballot language that you'll see when you go and vote. Passing Issue 1 would also prevent a commission member from being removed, except by a vote of their fellow commission members, even for incapacity, willful neglect of duty, or gross misconduct. So in other words, commission members who are appointed by 4 retired judges, all of whom are dedicated to turning Ohio's legitimately red majority into an artificially blue hell, can do whatever they want in their new positions. They can spend what they want, whatever Ohio tax money they desire, on themselves, on lawyers, on anything their little heart desires, and they can never, ever be removed from their position unless they themselves decide to do so. The people have no say whatsoever in the matter. Since these people were never elected into office, they can never be voted out of office. Here's more from the ballot. Issue 1 would prohibit any citizen from filing a lawsuit challenging a redistricting plan in any court, except if the lawsuit challenges the proportionality standard applied by the commission, and then only before the Ohio Supreme Court. You catch that? No Ohio citizen, not you nor me, could ever have the legal right to even file a lawsuit challenging any decision this commission might make. And there's more. Passing Issue 1 will limit the right of Ohio citizens to freely express their opinions to members of the commission or to the commission staff regarding the redistricting process or proposed redistricting plans. That's right. Ohio's Issue 1 would strip you, as an Ohio citizen, of your First Amendment right as an American to free speech and for the freedom to petition the government for the redress of your grievances. You couldn't say a word. Passing Issue 1 will also require the commission to immediately create new legislative and congressional districts in 2025 to replace the most recent districts adopted by the citizens of Ohio through their elected representatives just in 2023. These, by the way, were passed unanimously by a 7-0 vote of the actual redistricting commission, Republicans and Democrats alike on that commission. And of course, if you did not like the job done by the real redistricting commission, you have a remedy. We can always vote these people out of office and replace them with new officials to represent us. That, my friends, is called democracy. That is called giving power to the people who are supposed to run this state, the citizens, not an unelected bureaucracy. And finally, passing Issue 1 will impose new taxpayer-funded costs on the state of Ohio to pay the commission members, the commission staff, and appointed special masters, professionals, and private consultants that the commission is required to hire. And an unlimited amount, did you catch that? Unlimited amount for legal expenses incurred by the commission in any related litigation. In other words, passing Issue 1 will give this unelected group of Ohio bureaucrats, who will never have to answer to you at the ballot box, and who will never have to face you in court, and who will never, ever be able to be removed, and who will never have to hear your opinions on the job they're doing, enforced by law and the Ohio Constitution, a blank check to do whatever comes into their little progressive heads with tax dollars taken right out of your paycheck and mine. And the last point I want to make right now is also about money. The Yes on Issue 1 campaign wants you to think this is a grassroots effort by the everyday citizens of Ohio who just want to keep the politicians in line. The reality is very, very different. Issue 1 is being funded by over $26 million from some of the shadiest left-wing organizations in America. That's right, in America. That's because over 85% of those $26 million comes from outside the state of Ohio. And millions of those dollars actually come from outside of the United States as well. Some of the largest donors to the Issue 1 campaign include the radical left ACLU, the leftist indoctrinators in the American Federation of Teachers, and those in the Ohio Education Association, the Ohio Progressive Collaborative, the 1630 Fund, the San Francisco Social Justice Redistricting Fundraiser, and the George Soros-funded Tides Foundation. And how about this? Also by the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE. And CARE, for those who don't know, is a designated terror organization by the United States government. This group prominently supports Hamas and Hezbollah, as well as the Muslim Brotherhood and its related institutions. In fact, in 2007, CARE was named as unindicted co-conspirators in a criminal conspiracy to support Hamas financially. And in 2008, the FBI ended its contact with CARE because of its continuing ties to terror. But citizens, not politicians, gladly take money from CARE to support Issue 1 here in the state of Ohio. What does that tell you about their intentions? So if the leftists behind Issue 1 are so concerned with the people of Ohio having control of how Ohio maps are drawn and how Ohio tax dollars are spent, which candidates Ohioans send to the state legislature and to Congress, then why are they relying on people outside of Ohio to buy their influence? The reality is that if Issue 1 passes, Ohioans will have zero control over what happens in our state. Do not let out-of-state millionaires and billionaires take your power away from you. This state belongs to Ohio voters. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. And if Ohio Democrats want more power in Columbus, tell them they can't just steal it. If they want more power in Congress, tell them they can't just mandate it. Tell Ohio Democrats and all of their radical leftist friends across the country and around the world that they have to earn it. Vote no on Issue 1. No on Issue 1. No on Issue 1.